Welcome back, weirdos, to the Weird Canadian. Today, we're going to talk about Alberta and what's going on with the Alberta separation movement. I feel like it's a pressing time to talk about this because everybody seems to think it's about oil, and there's a lot more going on with the situation in Alberta, and I really think we want to dissect it so that we can understand what's going on. Alberta wants out again, but this time, it's not just about pipelines or equalization. There's a growing movement pushing for full-on separation. And whether you're from Alberta or not, this should matter to every Canadian. Today, we're deep diving into Alberta's independence movement, where it came from, who's driving it, and what it really means for Canada's future. So, let's get into it. Why Albertans are so pissed. For decades, Albertans have felt like the rest of Canada doesn't get them, or worse, uses them. Despite being one of the wealthiest provinces, thanks to oil and gas, many Albertans feel economically trapped. Why? Because of federal policies. They say penalize Alberta's success. Equalization payments, environmental regulations, energy project shutdowns. Especially after 2015, with the Trudeau's Liberal government, the frustration exploded. Between 2007 and 2021, Alberta contributed a whopping $600 billion more to federal coffers than it received back in services. That's more than any other province, by far. To Albertans, this feels like robbery masked as unity. Let's break down what Wexit really is. In 2019, right after the federal election, a new term went viral. Wexit, a play on Brexit. It was a cry of Western alienation. Alberta and Saskatchewan wanting out of Confederation. Wexit gained traction fast. Online groups exploded, politicians flirted with it. Even former Harper advisor Tom Flanagan explored legal paths to independence. It wasn't just a meme. A poll that year showed that 33% of Albertans supported separation, and 71% believed Canada's federation was broken. So who's really behind this? Now here's where things get interesting. There's no one Albertan separation movement. Instead, it's a loose correlation of libertarians, populists, oil industry insiders, and everyday folk fed up with Ottawa. Groups like the Albertan Independence Party, the Wild Rose Independence Party, and the short-lived Wexit Canada had all tried to formalize the rage into a political movement. But there was a catch. While these groups talked big, they often fought amongst each other more than they fought the feds. There was infighting, shifting leadership, and no unified strategy. So let's talk legalities. Could Alberta actually leave Canada? The short answer? Not easily. The Supreme Court ruled in the Quebec separation reference, a province can't unilaterally leave. It would require a clear referendum, legal negotiations, and likely constitutional amendments involving other provinces. So while the dream of independence is emotionally powerful, it is legally complicated as hell. So what does this have to do with Danielle Smith? Premier Danielle Smith hasn't called for separation, but she definitely flirting on the edges. Her Alberta sovereignty within a Unified Canadian Act is to act like a pre-breakup text. This lets Alberta ignore federal laws it disagrees with, and critics call this unconstitutional, and Smith says it's just standing up for Alberta. Either way, it inches the province closer to the edge of federal cooperation. Let's talk the risks of separation. I have to stress this to make this clear. This affects Canada more than it affects Alberta in my mind. I live on an island where we use gas for pretty much everything. We can't get away from it. Unfortunately, we do not have the infrastructure or the equipment to run electricity. It's just not possible. So we lose gas, we're fucked. So if Alberta left Canada, the consequences would be massive. Trade routes through BC could be blocked. Currency, would Alberta launch its own dollar? What about pensions, RCMP, citizenship, and how would the Indigenous treaties be respected in this brand new nation? It's not just about flipping a switch, it's about rebuilding everything. But don't we also need to rebuild everything? Some dismiss Alberta's separation as political theater, a regional tantrum. But underneath the noise is something real, a deep disillusionment with the way Canada functions. This isn't just about Alberta. It's about how disconnected all Canadians feel from power, from the people making decisions far away in Ottawa. This movement separate is a symptom of deeper illness in our federation. And if we keep on ignoring that, we risk something far worse than separation. Disunity. So whether you agree with the Alberta separation or not, you can't ignore it anymore. We need real conversation about fairness, representation, and the future of this country. Because Canada only works when every province feels like they have a voice, not just the ones with the most seats in Parliament. So if you learned something new, drop a comment below. What do you think about the Alberta separation? Should Alberta leave, stay, try to renegotiate its place in Confederation? I want to hear from all of you. in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, because in this country, every voice should count. This is The Weird Canadian, and I'll see you in the next one.